Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And this is another installment in my How to Make the Most Out of Leftovers series. And today I'm going to be making Mongolian beef using venison. So in case this is new to you, venison or elk meat, they can be used in any recipe you would normally use beef in. So it's really pretty simple on how you can use that up. And the reason I'm saying that is I've had some people asking me to show them recipes using both of these types of meat. So let's get to this and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so here in my cast iron skillet, I've got some sesame seeds, a couple of tablespoons of sesame seed that I lightly toasted in the dry pan on the wood stove. And so I'm just setting that aside for now. One of the things you need to know about this recipe is because I'm using leftover meat, this is not going to be prepared the traditional way you would make Mongolian beef. Plus, I'm going to be using some food storage items such as dehydrated carrots, onions, garlic, and a few other things. So I'm kind of doing a double duty, showing you how you can use your stored up, dehydrated, and freeze-dried goods, as well as using some leftover meat in a recipe. So what I have here is a 1/4 cup of Bragg's liquid aminos. Again, this is the only soy product I use, and even then I still try to cut back on it, but at least I know it's non-GMO and organic. I just think that soy should be avoided as much as possible. However, there are certain recipes that the coconut aminos simply don't cut it. As much as I love them and I highly recommend them, having the liquid aminos, the more soy sauce taste, is just really going to bring out the flavors that you're looking for. So I've got 1/4 cup of that, and to this, keep in mind again, this is because I'm using dehydrated stuff the way I'm doing this, I'm going to add at least another 1/4 cup of my filtered rainwater. And then I'm going to mix in about 2 tablespoons of my arrowroot or tapioca starch. They're pretty much the same thing. You can use either. In fact, in this jar I have a mix. I use them the same way. So I've got both arrowroot starch in there or arrowroot powder and tapioca starch. And so I want to mix that in really good until it's smooth into my liquid. Okay, getting it blended very well. And now to this is what I'm going to add my dehydrated goods to. Now I was initially wanting to use fresh carrots, but I used up the last of my fresh carrots when I started this ferment here of calendula, onion, rose petals, and carrots, of course, and garlic and whatever else I could throw in there. And so I'm going to put in about a couple of heaping tablespoons of the dehydrated carrots, about a tablespoon of dried onion. You could go more, however, I'm going to be putting green onion on top of this when it's all done. I'm going to use some sliced garlic. Now both the onions and the garlic are the Mother Earth products, and I've been talking about them, very happy. In fact, I just got in my first big order directly from the company, and I'll show you real quick how they package these. Now you remember me talking about the freeze-dried mushrooms that I got from Amazon in the plastic jar. Well, you can save a little more money by getting it in the packages like this, same amount, but it's packaged like this instead, and then you can open it and seal it in your jars or however. But anyway, I've been trying this stuff and I'm very happy with their products. And so I always put a link now to the basic store, my affiliate link store, and you can look through there. And you can even get packages as small as this. So this was actually just a free gift they sent me with my order, along with a couple other cool things, a package of seeds and stuff like that. So you can look into that and see what you think. I've been very happy with every product that I've tried so far, and I've been using the onion and garlic for at least a couple of years maybe, and I just love it. Anyway, I'm just putting these in here and letting them rehydrate a little bit in this mix. And then the other thing I wanted to try, instead of putting in my standard red pepper flakes, which would be in your Mongolian beef, I'm going to use some of Ellen's peppers that she sent me. Listen to that. Boy, that sounded lovely. So look at these things. Aren't they beautiful? So I'm going to go ahead and throw some of these in here. I got green and red pepper. Oh, it smells great. It smells very spicy. So I'll throw those in with the mix and let them rehydrate right along with that. Okay, so right here, what I have in this pan is the bone left over from the neck roast that I did last night. And I have a video about this, and this is a venison neck roast. I have a video about this. You can find it right up here. And after I got most of the meat off of it, I added more water to the pan, and I'm going to go stick it on my wood stove to make a nice bone broth out of this. And I also took out, I divided the meat that was left over after last night into 2 different containers this size and cut it up. And so I have one for the dinner I'm going to make tomorrow night, so you'll see that coming up later. And then this is for tonight. And I added a good heaping spoonful of the thick gelatinous broth that was left in there after I pulled it out of the refrigerator. So this is going to be some of the liquid that's going into this dinner tonight. So what I'm going to do is just going to go ahead and dump this meat with the broth and all directly into this pan. So here's the beauty of using leftover meat, is that this would traditionally be done with raw meat, so it would have to be done separately. You would have to take separate steps in this. But since the meat is already cooked, I don't have to have as many steps in preparing this. Here are the green onions, the fresh ones, seriously straight from the garden, even though it's December. And believe it or not, these are the onions I planted. I had a couple of videos talking about this over the summer when I was doing my garden tours, that I had planted from some onion that my son, he bought a bunch of green onion from the store, and I asked him, I said, when you're done with those, give me the white ends because I'm going to plant them, and I did, and they gave me green onion all summer long and are still giving me green onion. So I just went out and picked these today, and these are going to go on the top when this is all done. Now I'm also going to add about a tablespoon or so of sesame oil. This is the sesame oil I use. I just love it. I've used it for years and years, and I will link to this below. I'm going to go ahead and let those vegetables sit and rehydrate for just a little bit longer, and then I'll be back when I'm ready for the next step. Now, these are not fully rehydrated yet, but as long as they're at least partially so, I'm not concerned about it because they will finish rehydrating when I'm cooking them. So I'm going to go ahead and stir that into my mix here with the meat. And you can decide whether or not you might find you want to add a little bit more liquid to this. It just depends on how much of the gravy or the sauce that you want, because you're going to be serving this either over rice noodles or just rice. I'm going to be using the shirataki noodles, the angel hair, tonight instead of any other type of noodle, because I haven't used these in quite some time, and I have a bunch of them, and I do like them. You may want to give them a try before you invest in too much. They are a little bit expensive. However, they are totally calorie-free, they're soy-free, they're gluten-free, they're cholesterol-free, and they're vegan. They're actually a pretty healthy noodle all the way around. So this is what I'm going to be using tonight, just for a change, something different instead of rice like I normally would. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and go put it on the wood stove, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to add a little bit more water to it, but I want to let it cook for a little bit and see how it turns out. So I'll take you in there in a little bit and show you how it's looking. Alright, I'm in here at the wood stove, and this is about done. It's about the thickness I want it right now. And I think I have plenty of water. Now what I did do is I went ahead and added another 1/4 cup of water for a couple of reasons. One is I felt like I needed a little bit more sauce, and because I'd forgot to add my dehydrated mixed greens blend in there. So I put a couple tablespoons of this. I talk about this a lot because I like to get, it's just another way I can get these good healthy greens of all sorts into our different meals without it being even noticeable. And I have everything from dandelion leaves to kale in here, And you can find a video on this and how I make it right up here. And this is all stuff from my garden, and which just makes it even more better. So another way you can use up your garden harvest as well, and food storage. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since this is still pretty early in the day and we're not ready for dinner, I just like to get the main part of my dinner done as early as possible. And then what I do, I'm going to set it aside, and when we're ready to eat, then I'll cook up the shirataki noodles and then just heat this through, and then we're just going to serve that over the noodles. And what I'll do, since I won't be shooting any more video of this particular meal, I'll take a picture of the finished product and insert it at the end of this video. Well, I hope you enjoyed this installment of how to make the most of leftovers, and you can find that video series right up here. I've also been adding some of the old videos from last year of dishes that I made using leftover chicken and different things like that. So you can check all those out and see what I do with all these things, and I'll continue to be adding more because I do have another dinner I'm going to be making with this leftover venison roast. So be watching for that. All right. I hope you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.